Okay, I'm Joe Ben Levi. Okay, and today I'm gonna teach you guys, you blacks, you so-called blacks, that you are actually Israelites, the real Jews according to the Bible, and I'm gonna prove it with some scriptures. I'm gonna go to the book of Deuteronomy. Okay, chapter 28, starting at verse 15. Okay, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and the statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Verse 16. Well, hold up. That's saying that if Moses was speaking through, God was speaking through Moses to the Israelites, saying that if you don't keep all my commandments, you'll be cursed. Here's some curses. Verse 16, cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. Because that means whenever you go to the worst parts of the city, you'll see the Israelites there. Whenever you go to the field, you'll see the Israelites there picking some cotton or some other stuff. Verse 17, cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. Because our businesses never flourish. We barely don't even own any. But if we did, guess what? They won't flourish. They'll always stay at the bottom. They will never rise up to the top, and you'll never have any name brand businesses for black people. Don't even say Jordan's. All he did was sign a contract. Don't say none of that. If it is some name brand stuff for some black people, man, all they did was sign a contract. They don't own that stuff. They just signed a contract. Now, verse, oh yeah, verse 18. Cursed shall be thy fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy land, the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. So they're saying, it'll go on from generation to generation to generation. It said, cursed shall be the fruit of thy body. Okay? The fruit of thy body. For example, when you have a child, they're going to be cursed with the same curse you have. That's saying that this type of slavery that you're going to go through is going to be generational. It ain't going to be no indentured servitude. It's not going to be a servant of war. It's not going to be none of that. It's going to be you are a slave. So guess what? Your child gonna be a slave, and his kid's gonna be a slave, and his kid's gonna be a slave. They're all gonna be slaves. Your kids are gonna be cursed with the exact same curses that you was cursed with. It's gonna go from generation to generation to generation. And guess what? We're still cursed with the exact same curses that the slaves was cursed with. We just don't even know it. You know what's worse than being a slave? Being a slave and not knowing it. You know what? Let's go to verse 24. The Lord will make the rain of thy land powder and dust. From heaven it shall come down upon thee until thou be destroyed. Because that's talking about when the Israelites ran from Jerusalem, we ran into Africa. We fled into the Sahara Desert, and it's very dry over there. So every time the wind blew, dirt and dust flew through the air, and it was like it was raining dirt. So let's go to verse 25. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies. Thou shalt go one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all the kingdom of the earth. So it says you'll be scattered throughout the entire earth, and you'll be smitten before your enemies no matter where you go. Like, for instance, we're smitten before our enemies every time the cops shoot us down in the streets, every time the cops beat us, beat a girl at a pool party, just throw somebody against the car, taser them, choke us to death, lynch us, hang us on a tree, put us in prison. We're always smitten before our enemies. We're gonna go to verse 29. And thou shalt grope in noonday as the blind man gropes in darkness. So that means in the middle of the day, you're gonna be looking for your way, like you can't see nothing. That means you're gonna be blind. You're gonna be blind to the fact who you are. You don't know who you're gonna be. You won't be able to find your way. You won't be able to get a good education. You won't be able to find what religion. That's why we got all these different religions. We claim all these different nationalities. We won't know. We'll be so blind. We don't even know who we are. How you gonna be so blind? You don't even know who you are. Even a person who can't see know his own name, but we, Israel, don't know our own name. We claim African American and Nubian and all kinds of crap. Now we're gonna go to oh yeah. And thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind grope in the darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways. We won't be successful. And thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. No man could save us from this, man. Martin Luther King cannot save us from this. We still doing the same stuff we always been doing because we not keeping the commandments. We not wearing tassels on the border of our garments. We not keeping the command. We not keeping the Sabbath day holy. We murdering. We not a woman walking around wearing pants. They ain't wearing dresses like the Bible says. They ain't covering up their head when they pray. This is some serious stuff that they breaking, and that's why people is still under these curses. Now let's go to verse 30. And thou shalt betroth a wife. That means you will marry a wife, and another man shall live with her. That's what they did in slavery. Every time the man married a wife, the slave master would make a rule. Oh, I gotta sleep with her first, or he'll just take her and rape her. Okay, now let's go to stay right there. Verse 30. Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. The White House, for example, we built that. We never lived in it. Barack Obama's not an Israelite. He's a Canaanite. And thou shalt plant a vineyard, but not gather the grapes thereof. The plantations we built. We planted those plantations, but they fed us scraps and meat. That's it. And abominations like pork and crawfish and crap. That's why we like it today. Verse 29. And thou shalt grow. Sorry, I meant to say. Verse 33. The fruit of thy land and all thy laborers shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up, and thou shalt only be oppressed and crushed always. Verse 34. So that thine eyes may be mad for the sight which thou see. Every time something happen to you, every time a white man kill a black man in the street, we want to march down the street, okay? Because we driven mad by the sight what we see. Verse 35. The Lord shall smite thee in the knees and in the legs with a sore botch that cannot be healed, from the sole of thy foot to the top of thy head. That means everywhere in your body, you're going to have some type of disease. Man, that's what happened to us, man. We got the most diseases. We at the highest rate of diseases. Verse 36. The Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which is set over you, to a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and there thou shalt serve other gods, wood and stone. Wood and stone. Christianity for the cross, and Islamic for the stone, cobblestone that they worship. Verse 37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb and a byword among all nations, whether the Lord shall leave thee. It says we'll become an astonishment because they astonished how much is of us as criminals, how much we in jail, how much we walking down the street sagging our pants. We act like we don't have sense. We walking down the street drunk, and we not drunk, we sober. This stuff is crazy. Like it says we'll become a proverb. They make proverbs about us talking about we all coons, we all eating chicken, we all like watermelon. That's proverbs. It says in a byword. By means too. We'll be called from a different name because we was originally called Isrealite. Now they call us Africans. Now they call us Afro-Americans, Negroes, niggers, spics. That is bywords. Now we're gonna go to verse 41. Okay. Sorry. Had to do something. Okay, now. So verse. Dang. Okay, yeah. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, but thou shalt not enjoy them, for they will go into captivity. Verse 44. This talk about your slave master, or the other people, the oppressor. He shall lend to you, but thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. That means he should be at the top, you should be at the bottom. Okay? Verse 46. And they, this talk about the curses, shall become a sign and a wonder upon thy seed forever. A sign. If you see a McDonald's sign, what does that mean? That means a McDonald's is near. So these curses will be a sign to tell you who you are, because they didn't have it to nobody else except us. Verse 48. Therefore thou shalt serve thine enemies, whom the Lord shall send against thee, and hunger and thirst and nakedness and lack of all things, and he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he has destroyed thee. Because we have to serve the oppressor for everything we need. And when he was in slavery, he put them collars and yokes and stuff on us. until we was destroyed. Now we're going to go to verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from afar, from the end of the earth, as swift as an eagle flieth. Eagle represents America. A nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. We didn't understand English, we spoke Hebrew. Verse 50. A nation with fierce countenance, which shall not regard for the person of old, nor show favor to the young. Because the cops will shoot down and kill an old man and a kid together. Verse 52. And he shall deceive thee in all thy gates, and all thy high places, and all thy fence, until the walls come down, wherever thou trustest thereout, in all thy land, and he shall besiege thee in all thy gates, in all thy land, which the Lord have given thee. Verse 54. Now this is talking about the men of our community. This is what it says is going to happen. So that the man that is tender among you and is very delicate, his eyes shall become evil toward his brother. That's why they got all the black on black crime. And toward his wife, that's why he beating on his wife, of his bosom. And toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. It says he shall leave his children. Doesn't that sound familiar? That didn't happen to nobody else. You don't see the Chinese walking out on their kids. Go to because when a white man come in his house, he say, "Honey, I'm home." No, we don't do that. We go to a whole nother house. We don't live with our kids. Verse 56. The tender and delicate woman among you will not adventure the sole of her foot upon the ground. That means she'll be lazy. For the delicateness and tenderness, her eyes shall be evil toward her husband. She always trying to tell her husband what to do, getting on his nerves. That's one reason why he walk out the house. Toward her husband and toward her bosom, and toward her son. That means she'll do the same stuff to the son. Toward her daughter. Verse 61. Also every sickness and every plague which is not written in the book of the law, then will the Lord bring upon thee until thou be destroyed. Because we have every single sickness, every single illness, every single disease, and we at the top of it. If you look up AIDS rate and then go to blacks, it's gonna be one long bar. Every other race gonna be at the bottom. It's gonna look like it's made up. It's not made up. That's real. That's cursed. That's an actual curse. Not a coincidence. That's Bible prophecy. Now we're gonna go to verse 61. Oh no, verse 68. The Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again in ships. Egypt means slavery. Egypt is a Greek word, Egyptos, which means bondage, because the land of Egypt was originally named Mizraim. So it says you'll go into slavery, bondage again on ships. No other nation went to slavery on ships. By the way, whereof I spoken to thee, you shall not see it again. We'll never see Jerusalem again. And there you shall be sold unto thy enemies for bondmen and bondwomen. Okay? Exodus 20:2. I am the Lord your God who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. It means bondage.